Welcome, US Grade 7 Life Science students. Okay, let's dive right into today's explainer, so go ahead and get your notebooks ready. We are kicking off a brand new unit called From Bacteria to Plants. We're going to lay down the absolute biological foundations you need for this unit, and we're starting it all off by zooming way in on bacteria. Here is our agenda for today. First, the great bacteria myth. Second, what are bacteria really? Third, inside a bacterial cell. Fourth, bacteria versus plant cells. And fifth, the transfer challenge. Section 1. The Great Bacteria Myth. Shattering a common misconception. So, when you hear the word bacteria, you probably instantly think of germs, illness, getting sick, right? Well, taking a look at this data, you'll see a massive section representing harmless or actively beneficial bacteria. They are literally everywhere, in the soil, the ocean, and yep, all over your skin right now. Then there's just a tiny sliver representing disease-causing microbes. We spend so much time using hand sanitizer to fight off that tiny fraction, we kind of forget about the massive amount of bacteria keeping our entire world functioning. That incredibly small slice of harmful bacteria, along with the massive beneficial ones, leads us straight to the essential question for our whole unit. You'll definitely want to write this down at the top of your notes. How can very small or simple organisms have large effects on ecosystems and humans? I mean, it's wild to think about, right? Something completely invisible to the naked eye can shape entire environments, or even help digest your lunch. Everything we cover in this explainer is going to help you answer that exact question. Section 2. What are bacteria really? Foundational definitions for your notes. All right, the absolute crucial point here is that bacteria are prokaryotic. Make sure to jot that down. P-R-O-K-A-R-Y-O-T-I-C. Prokaryotic. Basically, this means they are incredibly simple, single-celled organisms that do not have a central command center. Imagine a sprawling factory that doesn't have a manager's office. All the workers and blueprints are just sort of free-floating on the factory floor together, getting the job done. That is what being prokaryotic is all about. They lack a true nucleus. It's super simple, but as you'll see, highly effective. And because they are so incredibly effective, they do a ton of heavy lifting for us. Like we saw earlier, instead of just making us sick, we heavily rely on these guys. Get these 3 key beneficial roles down in your notes. First up, decomposers. Bacteria act as nature's ultimate recycling center, breaking down dead material so it doesn't just pile up everywhere. Second, gut flora. These are your tiny digestive helpers living inside your stomach and intestines right this second, breaking down food you literally couldn't digest on your own. And third, nitrogen fixation. These bacteria are like miniature fertilizer factories. Plants desperately need nitrogen from the air, but they can't grab it themselves. So bacteria in the soil actually pull nitrogen out of the air and feed it directly to the plants. Without them, plants simply wouldn't survive. Section 3. Inside a bacterial cell, a step-by-step structural example. Now, knowing they're simple is one thing, but picturing how they're actually built really makes it click. So here are the 3 main structural features you need to write down, step by step. Number 1, the cell wall. Think of this as outer protection, kind of like a tough suit of armor surrounding the cell to keep it safe from the outside world. Number 2, the cytoplasm. Inside that armor is a jelly-like fluid that fills up the whole cell. And number 3, tying back to our new vocabulary word, there is no nucleus. The genetic material, the blueprints for the cell, is just free-floating right there in the jelly-like cytoplasm. Simple, tough, and built for survival. Section 4. Bacteria versus plant cells. Setting up the unit's transition. Okay, now that we know what bacteria look like on the inside, we've got to compare them to plants, which is exactly where this unit is heading next. It is time to set up the ultimate microscopic showdown. Go ahead and write this definition down right next to prokaryotic in your notes. The word is eukaryotic. E-U-K-A-R-Y-O-T-I-C. This is the scientific term for complex cells, like the ones found in plants, and hey, in you. These organisms contain cells that have a true nucleus. Think of it as a dedicated, protected manager's office for all their genetic blueprints. Plus, they have other specialized membrane-bound structures. They are highly organized. Let's actually put them side by side. On one side, we have the prokaryote, our bacteria, single-celled and no nucleus whatsoever. It perfectly represents the tiny, simple organisms from our essential question. On the other side, the eukaryote, our plant cell. It's complex, often makes up multicellular organisms, and proudly contains a true nucleus. Grasping this distinction right now is absolutely key to understanding the incredible leap from microscopic bacteria all the way to the massive trees towering outside your window. Section 5. The Transfer Challenge. Test your note-taking knowledge. All right, you've taken the notes, you've got the definitions down, so now it's time to put on your micro-detective hats. Here is your final task. Look closely at your notes on those prokaryotic and eukaryotic definitions and ask yourself how you would classify these two examples. Number 1, a complex plant leaf cell. Number 2, a single-celled organism with no nucleus. Which one is the plant cell and which one is the bacteria? And maybe more importantly, if an organism has no nucleus to protect its most valuable instructions, how has it managed to not just survive but absolutely dominate almost every environment on Earth for billions of years? Think about that puzzle as we close out today's explainer, and I will see you in the next phase of our unit.